Now, before we go, there's one person I had to talk to about the legacy of Peter Reith, a man who I believe changed this country for the good, and I'm sure our next guest would agree. Former Prime Minister John Howard, of course, was the Prime Minister at a time where this country needed strength, and certainly Peter Reith helped deliver it. Mr Howard, thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you, Paul.
What do you think of when you think of Peter Reith?
I found him a wonderful friend, a great colleague, and a driven policymaker and changer. Peter Reith was one of those people who went into politics to change things that needed change, but to defend those things that ought to remain as they were. And in relation to such things as tax reform, he was in the vanguard of promoting a GST, and as deputy leader to John Hewson, he fought very hard for that, and ultimately my government introduced that as part of tax reform. But he's probably best remembered for the courage he displayed in relation to waterfront reform. For decades, Australia had languished with a rort-riven, inefficient, anti-productivity waterfront. And Peter Reith had the courage, supported by a very upright, courageous businessman in Chris Corrigan, of Patrick Stevedores, to bring about the necessary reform. And however debated the outcome of that great waterfront dispute in 1998 was, it was undeniable that at the end of the day, we ended up with world-class productivity replacing an inefficient system which had destroyed the livelihoods of many men and women in business in Australia. So Peter Reith deserves enormous credit for that, and he withstood enormous abuse, threats to his physical safety and threats to his family, but he believed in change, and I was very proud as his Prime Minister to support him.
What was he like around the cabinet table when he was trying to help you through problems that weren't necessarily about his portfolio, but when he was trying to turn his mind to getting the big things done that you needed to get done all those years?
Peter Reith was a great cabinet contributor. Some people in cabinet are very good in their own portfolios, but they don't have a lot to say in other areas. Peter Reith wasn't like that. He was good in his own portfolios, but he could bring common sense and intelligence to debates across a whole range of things. So he was a great cabinet participant, and I remember that. And he was a very even-tempered person. You need the right temperament to be a successful contributor to cabinet. You don't feel the need to speak on everything, but you should have the capacity to contribute outside your own speciality, and Peter Reith was certainly one of those.
And just finally, I know how you'll answer this question, but it's not going to stop me asking it. Michael Kroger last night on the show said that Peter Reith was your favourite minister. Was he your favourite minister?
I had a lot of favourite ministers.
There you go.
And Peter Reith was certainly one of them. But I had a terrific treasurer in Peter Costello, and an absolutely magnificent foreign minister in Alexander Downer, and wonderful deputy prime ministers. So good attempt, Michael, but you won't get me into that.
Exactly how I thought you would answer. Always with class. Thank you so much, sir. Lovely to talk to you, Mr Howard.
Thanks very much.